I'm Mike Garabedian with Garabedian Properties, and welcome to Uniqueness Built In. For well over 30 years, our team's been building homes throughout the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, and we've had a unique take on building homes, and we wanted to share that take with our viewers. So if you're about to build a custom home, renovate a custom home, or need tips on how to care for your custom home, stay tuned. Hopefully you'll learn something. If you like the show, please share and comment. If you don't like the show, please keep watching. Unlike our interns we pay to watch, it helps with the algorithms, so please keep watching. Thank you much. Our guests today are some dear friends of mine that I've known for years, Wynne and Perry Moore. They're realtor broker associates with Allie Beth Associates in Southlake, Texas. And I've asked them to come by today and share some insider perspective on how their clients, or whether they're experts in new construction and resales of luxury homes in many of the same communities that we build in. And I've asked them to come by today and share their insider tips on how their clients work with either selecting a builder, selecting a lot, or just selling their existing homes. So Wynne, Perry, welcome. Offer you, if you'd like to have some chocolate, or of course we have wine.
Thank you, Mike.
I might take some chocolate on the way out, but Thank you.
No wine?
No wine.
No wine right
now.
Look
up.
Thank you, though.
All right, good deal.
Just finished my Cheerios.
All right, great. Well, thanks for coming by. So, Wynne, we've known each other for more than a year.
A little bit.
You remember how we first met?
I do.
When was you? Share.
Well, I worked for Terra Land Management, and you were one of the builders, and so we met then, and yeah.
Kaleidoscope of Homes back in Clariden?
2000. No, I came after the Kaleidoscope in Clariden. So I probably met you in 2004 at the Knoll Kaleidoscope when you did the house in the Knoll.
And then you went from working for a developer, who was a dear friend of ours. We love them to death, Bobby and Paul. You went from being working with a developer into the brokerage community. What got you into the brokerage community?
When I was working on-site sales, I just kind of kept seeing realtors who didn't really feel like were taking great care of their clients at times. And so I just thought people should have an honest option to take care of them. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the houses and the people. So I decided to get my license. I got my license in 2006 while I was still with the developer. Yeah. So, yeah.
Perry, you used to build homes.
I did indeed.
And you got out.
I sure did. The window was open and I just jumped right through.
I mean, what was the motivator from going from building homes into representing clients for buying homes?
Yeah, Mike, at the time I was pretty much running the show over there for the most part with clients and the designers, and it was fantastic and I really loved it. However, it was kind of maxed out and it's kind of time to do something else. And at the time, when my wife was slammed and she was covered up, and she said, "Hey, why don't you come and join me?" And oddly enough, what am I going to do in real estate? And she says, "Well, you know everything about a house." Well, good point. That's fair. So I got my license in 2012 and we started the Wynne Moore Group, and here we are.
Okay, great. Well, so the whole premise of, be careful, don't bang the mic. The whole premise of what we're trying to do here is share insiders' perspective on our industry. So when folks are going to buy or build a new custom home or luxury home, or they have a home that they're going to go try to sell, that they can learn a little bit. So when the time comes, they don't make the same mistakes that we've probably made many, many times over and over again. So when you have a client who wants to build a new home, what's the first step, or how do you guide them through that process? Picking a builder, picking a lot, financing. How do you coach them?
So typically we are going to recommend that we identify where they want to be. Usually they know, but do the lots already have builders they have to build with? If they don't, I recommend that they interview several builders, usually 3. I feel like they start after 3, it gets a little confusing, right? A lot of people come to us and go, "Oh, I have these floor plans that I already had drawn up, and so now I have to find a lot to fit my plans." And like, you actually spend more with the architect. Your house is now costing more because every lot is going to be different somehow. And so you've got, I just always recommend not doing the plans. You can have an idea of what you want your house to look like, but don't do your plans. So identify with the lot, meet with the builders. You've got to really like your builder. It's kind of like a marriage because you're going to be with them for a couple of years. Yeah. Check their financial background.
100%.
Yeah.
Yes. So when they're picking lots, we get calls all the time from folks that want to build a home. Sometimes they don't have a realtor, sometimes they don't. And they'll see a lot in a community they really want to be in. But there's so many different, every lot's different and unique. And sometimes they have their heart set on being in a certain community, but they either are the house they're going to build is either going to be below what it needs to be for that community, or it's going to be way too expensive for that community. And they're trying to buy a cheap lot and put a big house on it, or vice versa. How do you coach them to try to stay within the bumpers, or the boundaries?
That can be a challenge, but a lot of times the neighborhoods have deed restrictions. And, definitely if someone is planning on putting a too expensive house in a neighborhood, we try to have that conversation that, when you call us back to sell your house, we don't want to tell you that you're the biggest fish in the pond and it's going to be really hard to sell your house at the price you're going to want. If they're trying to build too low, again, usually the deed restrictions will really help us with that. I think the deed restrictions usually help us.
Mike, you have any thoughts on that?
I have a lot of thoughts on that, but it's about you guys, not me. So now, Perry, obviously, since you were in the industry, we talked shop about construction and science, building science, and all that for time.
Sure.
When you have a client that wants to do some, I forget, it's PG, so crazy. My wife's watching, so I have to be good. When you have a client that wants to do something really crazy or technically challenging, how do you coach them through that? I mean, typically, most realtors just don't have the experience in construction that you do. So this is a big plus. So how do you...
Yeah, once we've kind of talked them through the lot and the location and kind of what their aspirations are in terms of price point in their home, and if they want to do something outlandish inside, we try to push them towards the middle of the road as much as we can, because at the end of the day, we're thinking resale, for them. We're hoping that they're going to call us, in 5 to 7 years, 5 to 10 years, and hopefully we can make them some money, after the fact. But, at the end of the day, people are going to do what people are going to do.
Yeah.
Well, and one more thing, if the buyer will allow us to go through the architecture process with them and with the builder, I do think it's important to allow the builder to be a part of the process. You can tell an architect, I want all of these things, and the architect's going to draw it. But then you go to the builder and you say, okay, well, this is my budget. And the builder says, okay, I can't do it for that. You can't build this kind of house for that. But then allowing us to be a part of it also, we're going to say, great, you may want to do these things, but again, when you call us to sell the house, it's going to be a challenge to sell it. Like, these are the things that we would recommend, but if you have to have that, great, but just know that'll make it a little harder to sell.
I almost say mistakes. What is a common, is there a certain, without naming names, is there a don't name me. Is there a misstep or that you've seen someone make when picking a lot or picking a builder or drawing the houses too early that really sticks out in your mind and says, gosh, this is what happened and we don't want that to happen again? And anything come to mind?
There's some neighborhoods, and one in particular, a house that we've listed, and more of a production type neighborhood, and they chose all of the highest end of everything for the house, and so then it just prices them out of that neighborhood. So then it's a challenge to sell it. Great house, but nobody wants to pay the huge dollar sign for all of those things that they chose. So that's
you can over personalize it and you spend your money. I have a saying, when you I'm probably getting ahead of myself. Oh well. I have a saying, when you buy an existing home, you're spending your money on what somebody else thought was important. In this case, all the highest finishes. When you build a custom home, you're spending your money on what you thought was important. So Perry, many times over the years, we've talked about resale homes. You had resales that needed some TLC or some attention and stuff. We walked them and talked about it and stuff. Are there things that come to mind that someone could do? You're going to build a brand new home with a really great builder. I know a few of them, but you usually have to sell your existing home first. Are there things that come to mind that someone should start thinking about now, even if they're not going to sell their home for a year or two, they should be doing to get their home ready for resale?
Yeah, that's interesting you bring that up, because every appointment that we go on typically has a pretty good list of things that need to be done to it, particularly if it's an older resale. Paint is a huge one that we always, tell them to do, and fixtures, and, outside of the normal things that you would see on a checklist, like, so I walk on the outside of the house, not just on the inside of the house. And there's a lot of things that people just don't pay attention to. They don't check all the light bulbs on the outside to see if they're still working. They don't look at the masonry work to see if it's cracking, or look at any of the freeze boards up by the roof area, or even have a roofer out to look at their roof. I can't tell you how many deals Wynn and I have had lately where the roof is a sticky point. Right. So we try to get ahead of all of the quote unquote issues before they're real issues.
I know one of the things we've done on projects you've helped us with before is you've strongly suggested we get an appraisal. So what's the purpose of getting an appraisal? I mean, obviously, normally you get an appraisal when you get a loan. The buyer contracts the house, you get an appraisal, then you get your loan and go on. But you're telling the seller to get an appraisal. Why do you do that?
Not always. It just depends. If our price that they want versus what we can prove is drastically different, then we recommend an appraisal. If the seller is not really sure how large the house is, tax records say one thing, maybe they have the building plans say something different. Well, we can't put on MLS, oh, hey, we just think it's this size, right? People get sued over that. So we recommend a square footage appraisal, and then we might recommend a full appraisal if we have a hard time agreeing on a price. And then some properties are just very unique, and so then we would recommend a full appraisal.
Perry, when you're showing a new construction home, or actually any home, what are the things when you walk a prospective owner, client through the house? What are the dead-on hits that every time the we call them wow factors? You walk in the house, they're always looking for this. What are the 2 or 3 things that come to mind that say if you got this, you probably are on the right path of selling your home?
Yeah, I think we talked about floor plan a little bit. I think that in relation to the floor plan, through the front door, pools, we've talked at length about some of your homes and the pools and where do we put them and how do we put them, so that when you walk through, you're like, oh my goodness, like that is amazing. We talk about the sliding doors in the living room. We talk about the indoor, outdoor living that people really want. And so those are some of the big wow pieces that I've seen. I think, in terms of the home itself, I think that I try to frame their mind around the price point where we are and what they should expect at a certain level, as you know. And so I try to point out all the details of the home, what kind of fireplace is that, and so I can kind of add value and tell them this is well done at this price point, or we need to keep shopping.
Similar question, when you're showing a home, whether new construction or resale, what are the 2 or 3 things you keep coming across in your head? You're some son of a gun, why didn't you guys deal with that? I mean, the same miscues that sellers are. No addresses. Sometimes it's my pet peeve has always been the beds, fresh mulch in beds, the smell of smell of manure, which is the smell of that is it's an aphrodisiac when you're selling a house, that and paint.
Right.
Yeah, curb appeal is huge. I mean, when people drive up, it's the first thing that they're going to see. And so having fresh flowers, fresh mulch, when you first walk in the door shouldn't be dirty. The front door should not be dirty, nice and clean. And then, if it's a resale, minimal things, minimize your belongings. People don't want to see all of your knickknacks, and they want to be able to envision themselves in the house. In the old faux walls and all of that, we understand that, we did it also, but we understand you paid a lot of money for that, but that is not what people want anymore, unfortunately. And so, getting the paint done, I think the paint is one of the big things, of course.
So if you were a builder and had a personal home with a lot of heavy, thick texture on walls and a lot of animation art up in your office, those are things that you probably would not want to necessarily have out when you're trying to sell your home.
100%. Yes.
That hurts.
I'm so sorry. Yes,
too
I'm
close.
so sorry.
But it is true. If you don't have it, it does sell faster. Evidently people do not appreciate animation art. I don't know why.
Not often.
I'll tell you something funny though, Mike, that I've noticed that
Yes.
people do coming into open houses, and this cracks me up, and showing as well. The first thing they do when they walk in the kitchen, what do? They open the drawers and doors to see if they're soft close.
Oh.
So they're on their sliding
right.
scale. It's a plus or minus based on kitchen hardware
Well,
and drawer hardware.
it's almost like I paid you for the transition. So what if you had to tell someone who's going to either design a home or renovate a home? So I know some guys that renovate homes too. What would be, soft close? That used to be the exception. Now it's becoming the standard. Which
Absolutely.
It goes to a whole other issue about why housing costs so much, but we'll go
Right.
neither here nor there. What are some other trends that you're seeing or starting to see that maybe are not commonly known that folks should think about when either building a home or renovating their home?
The catering kitchen is a really big deal for the last several years. Or, a large butler's pantry or something, but to where it's hidden, whether it's normally right behind the main kitchen, but you can have your mess back there, but you have another dishwasher, oven, microwave, sink, lots of prep area. That is really important to people now in the luxury homes. We have a very large pantry in our home. We don't have a sink, which would be so lovely.
Appreciate that, Mike.
And
Bringing
an
that one
extra dishwasher. But we don't have any of our small appliances out on our countertops in the kitchen. And so having those clean countertops, I feel like people really like. And so having those catering kitchens is a nice thing.
Perry, you got one?
To speak to the remodel piece, we've been on several appointments lately where folks are like, we've lived here in South Lake for forever, and our kids are gone, and we don't know what to do. Like, our home is the way we've had it for years and years, but we do want to update it, but we don't know what to do. And so, we had a great candid conversation about big areas where you do see a return on your dollar in the resale market. We talk about the master bedroom, the master bathroom, and the kitchen, and to Lynn's point, a prep area if we can make one happen over there. So those are some key pieces for people to think about if they're remodeling.
That's great.
And we also try to tell people, are you going to be here another 5 years, or are you here just one more year? If you're here another 5 years or longer, do the things you're going to enjoy, because very likely a lot of what you're going to do is going to be out of style by then, unfortunately. So do the things you're going to enjoy. If you're only going to be here for another year, we can bring in a designer and help make some selections for the things that we think will help sell your house. And we never recommend doing something to a house that we don't think will add value.
That's great. Thank you so much. Just a quick closing question. Y'all are with Allie Beth Allman Associates. There's so many different brokerage houses out there. What was it about Allie Beth that attracted you guys to plant your flag and work with them?
When we left our last brokerage, interviewed several brokerages, and when I met with Allie Beth, Perry unfortunately couldn't go that day, but she's just an amazing woman. She's a great mentor, and so I don't know how you meet her and don't fall in love with her. But then she also had a great marketing person who we knew from previously, so that was important. And also she really encourages her agents to run their own business, so she's not trying to control us in everything we do. They have good controls over, yes, you have to have beautiful marketing pieces, but we also get to run our own business, and that's what she wants for us.
And I noticed the compliance aspects of it is very disciplined. So if anything, there's a lot of great brokers and realtors out there. I'm friends with so many, and there's certain houses that I know that that there are certain compliance forms as a seller you need to make sure you stay on top of, and Allie Beth, as others, have been very good about that. And that's peace of mind for a seller, because if you're in compliance, that's less opportunities for something to get go sideways later on in the process.
Right.
Great. All right. Great.
For sure.
Thank you so much. Okay. Well, that's what we got for today. They tell me I should have words of wisdom in every show. So good luck with that. But recapping, we talked about buying an existing home versus building a custom home. And if you're going to build a home, you're spending money on what's important to you. When you buy an existing home, you're spending your money on what's important to somebody else. And that's an important thing to keep in mind, because building a custom home is expensive. You're always well served to have good representation, not only with your builder, but with a realtor to get you through the process and help you find the right lot and the right location for it, and also a great architect or home designer and an interior designer as well. So you need a team to help you do it right, because you're going to spend a lot of money to build a custom home or a luxury home, and you need to make sure you have a great team to get you there. Wynne, Perry, if folks needed help with a brokerage firm in Southlake, you may know somebody.
We know a couple of people, yes.
But if you want to tell folks how to find you,
you can go to our website, wynnemore.com. That's WYNNEMOORE.com. Or you can call me at 817-781-7060, and we would love to help you.
100%.
And thank you for having us, Mike.
Great, thank you. All right, thank you so much, folks. If you like what you saw here, tell somebody. Share the news. If you don't like it, don't tell nobody. Just pretend you did. If you ever see something related to custom homes or luxury homes, or even renovating a home, or we also have an estate management group that helps people take care of their homes, and you want to have a question about that, please message or comment us at our website, garabedianproperties.com, or in the comments below. Or if you've seen something that you'd like to see featured about in building a home, renovating a home, please let us know too, because we're looking for some really cool stuff. We got some cool stuff coming. Some of them will blow your mind. Thanks so much. You guys have a great afternoon, a great evening. Thanks for watching.
Thank you so much for watching Uniqueness Built In. Have you seen something interesting on our show that you would like us to elaborate on? Or perhaps you've seen something out in the wild that you want us to talk about on our show? Feel free to email us at the email on the screen, info@garabedianproperties.com.